How's it going, everybody? We are back. Your favorite TV personalities, Sergio, Brian, Matt. I hope you guys are having a great week. I hope everyone had an excellent weekend. How are you fellas doing?
I'm doing great, Sergio. How you doing?
Good. I'm excited to be back. You know, another week flies by, but it's exciting to talk some sports again, right? So let's kick things off with a little bit of baseball, America's pastime, fellas. The Yankees, they just lost to the Houston Astros. They had a 103-win season. They lost. Do you guys consider the Yankee season a failure? I know Aaron Judge said no matter how many games we won in the regular season or what else we did, the season is a failure. Matt, how do you feel about that? Do you agree with him?
I think it's a big failure. I think that when you're a team like the New York Yankees and you don't go through 117 seasons, win 27 World Series without living up to a certain standard, without expecting a certain standard. And for the Yankees, they needed to at least be in the World Series. Because this winning the AL East from the Boston Red Sox was not something they haven't done before. Was winning 100 games something they haven't done before? No. They spent $150 million on revamping their bullpen. They spent their money getting the free agents that they needed. They spent their money getting, or they made the trades for Edwin Encarnacion. They made the moves, and at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. They tried to win it with their bullpen. Brian Cashman thought they didn't need any more starters, and it wasn't enough. Okay, he didn't make any moves on the trading block, and they thought they would be fine. But you know what? Tanaka and your washed-up starting pitcher CC Sabathia, it wasn't enough.
Oh, that's a bold statement there, Matt. Playoff baseball is hard, let's face it. And teams are getting a lot better. The Yankees won a lot of World Series a long time ago, let's be honest, when baseball was more unequally weighted, and now baseball players are getting better. Baseball players are coming from other countries, and we're getting the best athletes in the world to come play MLB baseball. So let's face it, the MLB is getting better. And for the first this is going to be the first decade the Yankees did not make the World Series. Kind of surprising graphic, but that just speaks to the fact that teams are getting better, and you know, they lost Derek Jeter, he retired. They won a lot of World Series, Derek Jeter, didn't they? And let's face it, the Astros won 107 games this season in the regular season, and the Astros are just a better team.
Well, you say that since they didn't make it to a World Series this decade, that it's not a failure. But I think that's just saying that it is.
No. I'm not saying that they didn't make it this decade isn't a failure. I'm saying this season was not a failure for the Yankees.
This season was a failure for your Yankees because they did what Yankees do. They spend their money and they get the big-time players. And at the end of the day, your big-time players did not come in clutch when you needed them to in the playoffs. Judge was terrible. Encarnacion was terrible. Chapman gave up 2 walk-off hits in the LCS, Brian. They've all failed. They all failed.
Let's face it. See, let's face it, Matt. Aroldis Chapman is not the closer he used to be. I don't think he's still one of the elite closers in the game. And I think the Yankees far overvalue him in the program. And the Astros didn't hit very well either. Probably the AL Rookie of the Year, Yordan Alvarez, hit .045, 12 strikeouts against the Yankees. Alex Bregman, maybe the MVP, hit 167. Yuri Gurriel hit 125. Springer hit 160. The Astros didn't hit very well either in clutch spots. Neither the Yankees, but the Astros came out on top.
We're not talking about the Astros, and Yordan Alvarez hasn't been hitting well all season. He's a rookie, and I would expect that from a person like him. But listen to me. The Yankees, their expectation was to win the World Series this year, was it not? Were they just playing to get to the LCS, Brian?
They weren't playing to get to the LCS, but every team's playing to win the World Series, are they not?
This is New York.
Every team,
in New York,
every team's playing to win the World Series.
Madison Square Garden,
no.
baby. Oh, that's not even.
Are the Twins? Do the Twins consider their season a failure because they didn't win the World Series?
No.
What about the Rockies or the Orioles?
I think if the Yankees realize they're not the best team in the league, after playing the Astros and playing any number of teams. They played a lot of entertaining games this season, but the Yankees were not the best team in the league, and I think they recognize that.
It is not just about the roster. It is about the decisions that Aaron Boone made. It's about the decisions that Brian Cashman made. And when you don't do the things in the preseason, in the regular season, in the postseason, to separate yourselves from teams like the Astros, who had the starting pitching, who had the offense, and had the bullpen, that is why you lose, and that is why you fail.
Wow. Wow.
I don't know about that one. I think that
Brian Cashman had opportunities to pick up people like Trevor Bauer, Zach Greinke, and he did not sell out for them. Okay, the Nationals had the worst bullpen in the major leagues, and look where they are, and look where the Yankees are.
Wow.
Those poor decisions made by Brian Cashman is what costing the Yankees. Not just about the players. They've all failed.
I don't know. You talk Zach Greinke. He has had a terrible playoffs for all we want to talk about. Greinke is not a clutch pitcher when it comes to...
This is New York. This is New York, Brian. They expect World Series. They expect greatness.
New York. Yeah.
They expect
that is
greatness.
the bottom line.
Except
They
for the
expect
Knicks.
perfection, and that is why Yankees fans are booing their players. That is why they are throwing things onto the field. It's because the Yankees expect to win the World Series, and they didn't even make it, Brian.
Oh,
they
my.
didn't even make it.
Wow.
And now they're going to be watching the World Series from the same place as us three, on the couch.
On the couch.
Does that not sound like a failure to the world champion New York Yankees, 27-time world champion New York Yankees? Brian, that is a failure. I think it's in Merriam-Webster. You can look it up afterwards or
wow.
Google it.
Ooh. Wow. Bold statement there, Matt.
You
What do
know,
you have to say, Serge?
you guys really got heated there for a minute, and I liked it. I like seeing the passion, the fire within you guys. You know, it's just gets my Monday going. You know, that's the type of energy I need. I was gonna say, do you guys think the Yankees will ever return to old form, the dominant form? Obviously not 27 titles, but at least you know bring back a little bit more hardware and give New York what they want, because like you said, New York expects to win, except for the Knicks, but that's another topic. Sorry, Knicks fan, but like do you think it's the decline? Is it over forever or for a while?
Unfortunately, I don't think so, Serge. I think the Yankees will come back eventually. Like I said, it's the Yankee way, not only to spend your money, but for that
Yankee
money
way.
to pay off in the form of World Series rings. So I think it'll come, just not this year, not this decade,
Not
Serge.
this decade, yeah. I agree. Unfortunately, the Yankees will probably win the World Series soon. I would guess they have some good young players. Gleyber Torres looked phenomenal in the playoffs. And I think the Yankees have a World Series coming their way soon.
Okay, well, that was exciting for our first topic. Week 6 in the NFL just concluded, and the 49ers, fellas, are on fire. Are the 49ers the real deal? All I have to say, 6-0, defense is absolutely stellar. They're third in points per drive, second interceptions per drive, and one thing that's very impressive about their defense is that they could rush a quarterback with 4, which is, you saw the Denver Broncos 2015 could do that, and we saw what happened. And they're not allowing a lot of teams to score on them. Granted, a lot of people have been criticizing the teams have been playing, not that good, but I mean, it's week 6 and they're 6-0. Brian, are they the real deal? Should they be taken seriously, or are they just kind of, coasting a little bit and eventually they'll hit a little divot and fall? What do you think?
Are the 49ers a really good team? Sure. Are they going to start the season 8-0? Probably. But are they the real deal? I don't think so. They might, get into the playoffs. I think they probably will. Starting 8-0, it's hard for you to miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
But
Denver did it that one time. Oh, no, they started 6-0.
But are they the real deal? I don't think so. Like you mentioned, they haven't played that good of teams this year. Their opponents are combined 11-28 on the season. And the Rams are probably the only real legitimate team they played in that stretch. And they beat the Rams pretty handily. But I don't think the 49ers are the real deal. I think there's a lot better teams in the NFC, which I think is a wide open league, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
See, Brian, you're wrong, and here's why. Okay. See, I think the only real knock you have against the 49ers is Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think Jimmy Garoppolo is a serviceable quarterback. Certainly not the greatest quarterback in the league, not even maybe top 10. But listen to me. That defense out there is elite. They have done great things on there. They are first in total defense and first in passing yards allowed per game, Brian. Okay, and as we've seen from that past Broncos Super Bowl, when you put the best defense against the best offense, the best defense comes out on top. Okay.
Sure.
And just as we saw with the Broncos and Peyton Manning, all you need is a serviceable quarterback. Of course, having an elite quarterback is going to get you to places that a serviceable quarterback cannot. Okay, but when you have a great defense like the 49ers have, and you've been able to shut down teams like the LA Rams and the Pittsburgh Steelers, that says a lot about what you can do. They had
the Steelers.
Shut down.
Elite offense Steelers.
I never said they were an elite offense.
They shut down the Steelers. Okay, they also shut down the Redskins with no quarterback.
What else would you expect them to do?
Second string quarterback Steelers, Baker Mayfield. Oh, they shut down all these offenses.
Well, here's the other thing that you don't think about is that Jimmy Garoppolo isn't flashy, but he's doing things the right way. He's got a 68% completion percentage. He is getting this team wins. And he is getting them. He's putting them, doing enough to put his team in a position to win. That's all you can ask for.
You say Jimmy Garoppolo's not putting up flashy numbers. 1,300 yards through 6 games, 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That's serviceable. The team's winning. I'll give you that. But
clean up the interceptions.
I'll tell you what is going to give the 49ers trouble. They're kicking. Robbie Gould has a 63% field goal percentage this season. And you know what wins clutch games? Kicking. And you know who's not a clutch kicker anymore? Robbie Gould. So I think the 49ers might be in a close game. They have a 55-yard field goal to win it. Robbie Gould can't hit it.
Robbie Gould's a veteran, and I think he'll be okay. They still got a good rushing attack. We haven't talked about that yet. Matt Breida, he's looking good. 5.6 yards per carry. That's half a first down.
Wow, that's
Sure. I think there's a lot to like about 49ers, and the season's not even half over. I'm excited about the 49ers.
All I'm saying, I would like to see the 49ers win a meaningful football game against a good team, like
the Rams.
The Rams really aren't that good that season. Let's face it. The Rams haven't won great games either, and they looked not very good against the 49ers, if we're being honest. And I just want to see them play a meaningful game, perhaps against the Seahawks.
Ooh, that's
when they're probably 8-0, if we're being honest. But the Seahawks have a good quarterback in Russell Wilson.
Very good.
And a serviceable defense that will challenge Jimmy Garoppolo.
Wow. Before we move on to the third topic, how far do you guys think the 49ers will get? Who do you think is going to win that division? We know it's pretty up for grabs right now, but who do you guys feel like is going to take it home, really?
It's a tough one.
It might be too early to say, but if the season ended right now,
I think the 49ers are going to take it.
Really?
But I don't think they're going to make it to the Super Bowl. I think at most they'll make it to the conference championship, but I'm going to go with the 49ers taking the division.
I could see that as well, personally. I don't think they're the real deal. I don't think they'll make the Super Bowl, but I could see them. They're undefeated right now. They're not going to play a lot of very difficult games. If they get one against the Seahawks, they win the division.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of football to be played still, and it's going to get even more exciting, and especially once they match up against each other, Seahawks and the Niners. That'll be nice to see. It'll be a pivotal game for sure. So let's talk some college football, fellas. In the midst of all the Titans that are always making it, we have Alabama, Ohio State, all those teams. You guys know what I'm talking about. What team is most likely going to be a newcomer, in the college football playoffs? Who do you guys think is going to be,
I think it's going to be LSU, Serge.
LSU?
I think LSU has so many great things going for them. Not to mention, I think they have the greatest quarterback in the country right now in Joe Burrow. He has already beaten LSU's single-season record for passing yards, okay? And he's got 2 great wide receivers to go along with him, and Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, who are both top 15 in the nation in yards and touchdowns, okay? And Joe Burrow at 29 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He is first in the nation in touchdowns, first in completion percentage, and second in passing yards. There's not a lot of holes in Joe Burrow's games. Okay, and great thing about LSU that a lot of other teams can't say, a lot of other teams who are trying to contend for the college football playoff, is that they have been battle tested, okay? They've had key wins against Florida and Texas, and they're number 2 in the nation right now. I love LSU right now. Brian, what do you think?
I like LSU as well. I think they will certainly make the college football playoff. They might beat Alabama in the regular season here. But I want to talk Big Ten football. We saw Wisconsin lose this weekend. Tough loss to University of Illinois. Unfortunately, I was really rooting for Wisconsin. I thought they had a good program. Jonathan Taylor, great running back. And but there's other Big Ten teams out there. Ohio State is obviously the front runner right now, but let's not talk Ohio State. Let's talk the University of Minnesota.
Oh my goodness.
Minnesota is undefeated, and if they win out, they get to play in the Big Ten championship. And then what happens then? They get to play. They get to play against the team that wins the other half of the Big Ten, and they're undefeated. And who are they going to play? They're either going to play Ohio State, Wisconsin, or Penn State.
That's a lot of ifs.
What ifs?
Brian.
I'll tell you.
A lot of ifs in an unproven Minnesota football team. And let me tell you something. That Minnesota is 56th in the nation in total offense, and I just don't think that Minnesota can keep up with offensive powerhouses like Ohio State. I don't even know if they can keep up with Wisconsin.
I don't know. Wisconsin is more of a defensive team, and we saw they couldn't put up offense against Illinois. But Minnesota just has to – they're playing Penn State in a couple weeks. They beat Penn State, and then they have an easier schedule to the championship. And then you never know what happens. One game, beat Ohio State. They have to make the playoff. They're undefeated, win the Big Ten. And I mentioned Penn State. They're also undefeated. They play Ohio State regular season. If they can beat Ohio State, or Wisconsin beats Ohio State, one lost team, Wisconsin, Ohio State.
So do you think Minnesota is going to beat Ohio State and Penn State?
It's a
I think they
possibility.
can beat Penn State. I don't know that Penn State's that strong of a team. I think they beat Penn State. And could you imagine that Minnesota team, the energy on that team, if they make the Big Ten championship undefeated, get a chance to play Ohio State for probably a shot in the playoff? Minnesota, I think, is the ultimate underdog this season to make the playoff.
Everybody roots for the underdog.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, we had a few highlights, right? You wanted to talk about Hail Mary that surrounded our highlight between Auburn and who was it?
Arkansas.
Again? Arkansas.
That's right,
there we
Sergio.
go.
It is time for
Yes,
our
sir.
next segment of Hail Mary. We're going to show you a play that happened between Arkansas and Auburn that made us laugh. It's very entertaining, and we're going to show you how it all came down.
And the rest of those tailbacks in the backfield. 2007 on a fake, and it's intercepted. And that's Chandler Wooten, who took that push pass from Sam Loy. And Auburn gets their second interception of the season and will take over at the Arkansas 38-yard line.
I'm not even sure what they were trying to accomplish right here. You see Loy, it's a fake all the way. He's trying to get it to Devian Warren coming across.
So as you guys can see there, Arkansas made a crucial mistake in trying to execute that fake punt. And now Brian and I are going to show you how things could have gone differently. Good afternoon, Colorado Mesa University, and welcome to another segment of Hail Mary. Today, Brian and I are going to be dissecting a botched play that happened between Arkansas and Auburn this past Saturday, where Arkansas made a disastrous attempt at a fake punt. Today, Brian and I are going to show you how they could have done it right. All right, so when it comes down to succeeding in football, there are three basic rules. Rule number one, always go for it on fourth down.
Rule number 2, always trust the Hail Mary. And rule number 3, if you're going to do a fake punt on 4th down, you do not throw it 5 yards ahead of you, like the fools at Arkansas. You throw it at least 50 yards ahead of you. 5-0. All right? Now, Brian and I are going to show you how Arkansas could have done it right.
Keep going. Nope. 50 yard, 50 yard. Come on. Keep going. Come on.
And that, sports fans, is how Arkansas should have executed their fake punt against Auburn. Next week, we're going to show you how you can do a fake punt, Hail Mary, with a flea flicker and a reverse. From all of us here at Crossing the Line, remember, keep failing so we can show you how to succeed.
And that, guys, is how it's done.
Yeah, you know, I think we definitely gave a
God.
great performance out there,
Wow.
showing Arkansas how they could execute a fake punt better. You know, their punter tried to do that little shovel pass. That didn't work out. You know, we showed them you got to throw that 50-yarder at least.
At least 50
and
yards.
that's
60,
how you
70.
score off the, you know, fake punt. And who wants to go for a first down or you can get the touchdown?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Always go for it on 4th down. Give the ball to the other team.
Oh, man.
Why? And always trust the Hail Mary. Never fails you. Never fails. Guaranteed success.
God, guys, that was absolute gold. Honestly, I didn't know you had a cannon like that, Brian. Nice
Absolute
catch.
cannon.
That was
I Odell.
Jesus, you guys are just
Taught 'em how to
top-notch
do it.
athletes. You guys got a call back about from any of the?
Funny you ask, Serge. I actually just got off the phone with the Milwaukee Brewers.
Hey, I told you that was gonna
Yeah, I
happen.
think they saw our video. It circulated around, and they said, "Oh man, we got some new fielding coaches coming into Milwaukee next year."
Jeez, but Broncos might be calling you soon to take the quarterback spot. Holy moly!
We said CMU TV is too important to us.
Oh, that is true.
We're gonna have to put in our
Yeah.
contract. They can't take the show away from us. you know?
No, it's #1 priority. Wow, fellas, that was that was the highlight of my day for sure. That was funny. That was very funny. All right, well, let's get to our last topic. Jeez, I'm still chuckling. So Astros and Nationals, it's set up perfectly. So who's gonna win the battle of the starting pitches, fellas?
I'll take the first one here.
Yeah, you take this one, Brian.
The Washington Nationals are going to win. Max Scherzer, Anibal Sanchez, Steven Strasburg look better than the starting pitching for the Houston Astros. Even Garrett Cole struggled. He got himself in some really tight situations against the Yankees. The Yankees didn't convert, but the Nationals are hot, and the city of Washington, D.C. is ready to be in a World Series, and I think that's going to fuel them. Going home, games 3, 4, and 5 for the Nationals, that crowd is going to fuel the team.
I like what you're saying, Brian. And the Nationals are hot. They're very hot. Or at least they were hot. But you know what happens when you turn off the oven for over a week? You get less hot.
You get really
And
cold.
get less hot. And you get kind of cold. And the Nationals, after sweeping the Cardinals, I think that's what might happen to them. Because I think we've all seen in recent history that the layoff does some bad things to teams. You know, it's a 6-game series compared to a 4-game series. Yeah, of course you would have liked a quick sweep, but there's something to be said about always your players staying warm, your players staying in a game mindset. And I just wonder if that's gonna hinder the Nationals in this World Series. They both had, because it's very close. I think this series is a lot closer. The Nationals are looked at as a pretty big underdog according to Vegas odds.
Mm-hmm.
But they both have elite starting pitching. They both have elite offenses. Of course, Nationals don't have as solid as a bullpen, but they have been very good in the playoffs. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in this series.
Sure, I think that you mentioned the bullpen. And in the 4 games against the Cardinals, they didn't have to pull out that many relievers. They threw 4 relievers for 9 total innings. And they gave up 3 hits and got 8 strikeouts in those 9 innings. And really, where the Nationals will run into trouble is their middle relief, because if the starting pitchers like Max Scherzer, like Steven Strasburg, can throw 6 or 7, then they can bring in guys like Daniel Hudson and Sean Doolittle, and those guys are very good pitchers for the team, but they run into trouble when they start putting Fernando Rodney on the mound.
Agreed. And I think that's why Strasburg and Scherzer are going to be so important in this series, that the Nationals will need them to have good starts every single game that they go in. You're going to need them to go 7 innings so you can get to the setup man and your closer. And I think with this, against an offense like the Astros, who, according to Sabermetrics, the 2019 Astros have the 2nd best offense ever, behind only the 1927 Yankees that had Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig.
Wow.
And so I think this series comes down to the effectiveness of Scherzer and Strasburg when they are on the mound.
Sure, and you mentioned when you turn off the oven, you get cold. But experienced pitchers like Scherzer, like Strasburg, veterans of the game, I think they'll be hot when they go in. They've been throwing in D.C. after they won, and I think that their pitchers aren't young guys. I don't think they get shook by the World Series.
Here's my bold prediction. I think Steven Strasburg's going to be fine. He has a 1.10 career ERA in the playoffs, but Scherzer, he's been good in the playoffs. Hasn't been great. Career 3.35 ERA in the playoffs. I don't know if the moment's going to be too big for him. He's never won a World Series before. And I think maybe the pressure of cementing his legacy as one of the best pitchers of this decade might be too much for him.
Ooh.
I think that you mentioned Scherzer's been good, not great. And I think that by saying that, you're saying that the Nationals aren't going to be able to score runs against Astros pitching. And I think that Zach Greinke has not shown to be a great playoff pitcher, as well as the Nationals have been very good in the playoffs at bat. They hit .274 in the NLCS against the Cardinals, and that's in the NL playoffs. So that means pitchers were batting as well. So when they go into Houston, they get to use a DH. I think they'll be even better, and I think that unlike the Yankees, the Nationals are going to be able to hit off of the Astros pitching.
Well,
Okay, fair enough.
before we end the show, what's your guys' predictions? What's series and who's taking it?
I'm going to say Astros in 7.
Ooh.
Astros in 7. I'll go the other way. Nats in 7.
Oh, looks like we have an exciting series coming up then, huh? Based on your guys' opinions. Well, that's going to be exciting. Anyways, we are approaching the end of our segment, and it is time for our weekly shout-outs. I'll go first. Shout-out to the Colorado Avalanche for winning and starting 7-1. We are proud of you, and hopefully I will go see a game soon because I need to learn some more about hockey. So, you fellas?
My shout-out goes to the Brit, Andy Murray, for winning his first tournament on the ATP Tour in 31 months and doing his best impression of Tiger Woods, coming back from an injury that almost threatened retirement, and now he's back and better than ever.
And for my shout out, I'm going to shout out Dabo Sweeney and the Clemson football program. They made Andrew Booth Jr., who punched a guy on Louisville, ride the bus home 450 miles to Clemson rather than be able to take the plane with the rest of the team. I think that's a stand-up move by Dabo and the coaching staff at Clemson.
Power move.
Power move for sure. Well, that concludes our show. I know, very sad, but we'll be back next week. Thank you guys. As always, I'm Sergio. To my right is Matt. To my left is Brian. See you guys then. Have a great week.